I'd like to call this meeting to order, September 22nd, at 5 PM.
September 26th.
It's September 26th.
It
Excuse me very
is.
much.
So I'm going to read the opening statement and do a roll call. Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this special meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner: by the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on September 22, 2017. By the faxing of a copy of said notice to the Tri-Town News, Asbury Park Press, and Star Ledger for information and publication on September 22, 2017. By the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's office on September 22, 2017. The public will be allowed to attend and will be allowed to participate pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. The public is reminded that civility and decorum will be maintained during the meeting. Any contracts awarded at this meeting and between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code, be advised that this facility is designed with emergency exits for your safety. The locations are as follows. Upon exit a meeting room, they are to your left and to your right. Furthermore, smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mrs. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Walsh.
Here.
Mr. Nicastro.
He'll be a few minutes late.
Mayor Berger.
Present. Do we have any reason to go into executive session this evening?
Yes, we do, Mayor. We have contract negotiations and potential COA litigation to discuss.
Okay. So I'd like to close this portion of the meeting.
I'm going to read the resolution first, and we're going to do a roll call. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell is authorized pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 to exclude the public from that portion of the meeting for purposes of discussing specific matters as permitted by NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell intends to discuss certain matters which are deemed confidential pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas at this time, the governing body of the Township of Howell cannot determine the time when a discussion to be held in executive session will be made public, but will disclose the minutes of executive session when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Howell that this meeting shall be adjourned to an executive session, and the public will be excluded in order that the governing body of the Township of Howell may discuss the items previously listed, and upon reconvening this public meeting, the presiding officer will announce, if possible, the time when and the circumstance under which a discussion conducted in executive session will be disclosed to the public. Motion and a second?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
No.
No, right?
I'm good.
I'd like to open this portion of the public meeting at 6:40. I'm going to reopen. At 6:40. And the executive session minutes from tonight's meeting can be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I'd like to please stand for the for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence afterwards, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We'll bring that with me. Don't need that. Very nice.
I'd like to open the portion of the hearing of citizens and public comments on the consent agenda, please.
On everything.
On everything.
Anything they want to speak to.
Well, it says,
Mayor, just a suggestion, maybe we want to ratify first. Somebody may want to get up and say something about it. I don't know.
wow. What do you, I think we should open it and then,
Okay, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, I'm fine with whatever.
She did. It's opened.
Barbara Dixell.
I was just thinking they may want to talk about that or that. Okay,
Pauline told me to open it to everything.
okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Barbara Dixell, 62A Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey. September 26, 2017. To the mayor and the governing body of the Township of Howell. From Police Chief Harvey Morrell, who was the founder and the first police chief of the Howell Township Police Department, to Police Chief Ronald Carter, and to Police Chief Andrew Kudrick, the Howell Township Police Department is among the most professional, most dignified, and most respected police department in our United States. If other police departments in the United States would take a lesson from the Howell Township Police Department in professional conduct, professional work ethics, and respect for their job and for the citizens, for the citizens they are hired to protect, this country would be a safer place to live in. On 9/11, all branches of New York's finest rushed into the World Trade Center, risking their own lives to save others, and many of them perished. Today, many of them are sick and dying. My eldest son is sick from his work in the Trade Center on 9/11 and for many months after that. Howell Township lost 5 residents. I was there, was evacuated, saw bodies and devastation, never forget. Howell's finest is our lifeline. From emergencies of all kinds to crime scenes to traffic congestion and traffic accidents to drug busts and saving lives to student education in our schools, to seeing that our 63 square rural miles is safe for all Howell residents to live in. Howell's finest is on the job at a moment's notice. Please ratify their contract. Respectfully, Barbara Dixell.
Thank you, Barbara. Is there no one else that's coming up?
Good evening. Elaine Taylor, 1055 Maxim Southern Road in Howell. I just want to remind everyone again the importance of the tiny house movement, and I see that you're talking about the affordable housing in Howell this evening. And I think it's important that we at least think about it and talk about it, and maybe get together with Reverend Steve and see what he has to say on the subject, and make it real affordable housing for people in the tiny house movement. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Charles O'Donnell, 27 Barron Meadow Lane, Howell, New Jersey. I had a question as to what the status is on the sidewalks from Route 9 on West Farms Road. They've done a lot of road construction there recently, doing a new traffic pattern. They're supposed to be, and we supposedly had a grant to build sidewalks. What is the status on that?
Mayor, I'll take that one. So the developer that's building the Four Seasons at Monmouth Woods, also known as Harvest Ridge, that project down the street, is the person responsible for the improvements to the intersection. Those improvements have been completed at this time. The grant you were speaking of is a Community Development Block Grant, CDBG grant, which we did receive. And we were waiting for the developer to finish his work, or actually to start his work, so that we could then survey the new curb lines that he was putting in to ensure that our sidewalk would go behind it properly. So we had to wait, which we were in constant communication with him, trying to get him to start and finish. We have now completed the preliminary design for the sidewalk project. The consultant is expecting to send it to me this week for review. We have to send it to the county because they're the CDBG reviewer. And once they review and sign off, then we can go to bid. So hopefully that happens within probably the next 3 to 4 weeks, that we can go out to bid to hopefully get it built this year. Now, it all depends on the weather. If the weather holds out like it has in the past few years, we could potentially be pouring concrete, November, December. If it doesn't, it would have to wait till spring.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Then I'd like to close this portion of the meeting. Do we have any resolutions?
Make a motion that we ratify the PBA contract.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Absolutely. The Township manager.
Make a
appointment.
motion that we approve Brian Gogan, Gahagan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a little tough one for me, as township manager, and offer him the job, and then we have to go over the details of his hiring.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
I'm abstaining. The affordable housing discussion is up next.
Yes, Mayor, I can, yeah, okay. Yes, I just wanted to update the council and the public on where we are in our litigation. We had a court-ordered mediation session last week. Our court master, Betsy McKenzie, we had a meeting with Betsy McKenzie and all of the interveners at the Monmouth County Courthouse. We discussed the status of Howell's plan, the fact that we have existing 270 credits towards our third round, and that's excluding the Walters project, which has been approved. So with the additional 72 credits, you have approximately 340 credits at this time. We're still awaiting a determination or direction from the court as to what the township's affordable housing obligation will be. There is currently, there was a trial in Mercer County before the assignment judge, Judge Jacobson, where she had a 40-day trial that went from January to June and over disparate days. And that's important to Howell because Mercer County is part of the same COA region as Monmouth County. It's Mercer, Monmouth, and Ocean counties. And once Judge Jacobson issues a decision on what the obligation would be for Mercer County, which would include a statewide obligation, as well as the regional obligation, which would include Monmouth County, at that point, the township will have a good sense of what we would expect the affordable housing obligation to be, as the regional master, Richard Redding, is the same master that we have in Monmouth County, is the same master that's in Mercer County. So that decision is still pending, so we're still awaiting an assignment of what we think would be ultimately the assignment of the number. In the meantime, the Betsy McKenzie, Howell Township's master, has asked the township to continue discussing affordable housing opportunities with our interveners through professionals. We will continue to do that and report back to you. But at this point in time, there is really nothing else in terms of the public we could disclose because it's not it's an ongoing litigation process. And that is where we are with our Mount Laurel litigation.
Is there any discussion on this, on the color housing?
I think we pretty well have been given a chore, and we know what we have to do.
I'm satisfied, Mayor.
Mr. DeCastro, Deputy Mayor?
Well, we're good.
Okay. At this point, I think we're complete.
October 3rd's meeting's canceled, and our next
Yes.
meeting is the 17th?
Yes.
Mayor, if I might, I know this is a little out of character. I'm not going to be here at the next meeting, so it's important to me just to remind people that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and everyone in the audience should really spend a lot of time in thinking about what you need to do to protect your health, not just the women, but men as well. It's not limited only to women, so please have your husbands check themselves, see their physician. It's a very important month, so please don't dismiss it. Thank you.
Very good. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Smack that guy. Bam! Just for you. Smack that guy.
Thinking of you when I did it.